The train stopped at Dead Rock just past noon. The whistle shrieked like a wounded animal, sending a motor crow scattering from a rusted water tower. You stepped down onto dry, cracked earth, the boards of the platform weathered and full of splinters. Heat pressed down on your shoulders like a lead blanket. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked, and someone cursed it for being alive. You had made it west. Whether you'd survive it was another matter entirely. You carried a battered canvas pack, a Colt .45 on your hip, and a letter in your pocket that read, "Meet me in Dead Rock. There's work if you ain't dead yet. S. Grady." You didn't know Sam Grady. Didn't know if he was a man, a gang, or just bait in a trap. But it didn't matter. The East held nothing for you now. No family, no home, just debts and cold wind. Dead Rock was a single dusty street line with wooden buildings leaning like drunk men. A saloon, a general store, a livery stable, and a jail. That was it. Beyond the town stretched empty, sun-bleached hills, endless and silent. Nothing moved except the wind and the buzzards. You tipped your hat low, stepped off the platform, and walked into your second life. Rule 1 of the West. Never let them see you scathed. Even if your boots are worn thin and your stomach growls louder than thunder, you walk like you killed 3 men before breakfast. Your eyes scan every doorway, every rooftop. You count horses tied at the hitching posts. 6. One's been there too long, ribs showing. The others are fresh. Riders are close. You walk into the saloon like it owes you money. Inside, it's cooler but not by much. Shadows stretch across dusty floorboards. A piano sits silent. The barkeep wipes a glass with a cloth dirtier than the glass itself. He doesn't say anything, just nods once. You speak low, looking for Sam Grady. The barkeep nods toward the back corner. There, nursing a drink, sits a man with a gray beard and coal-black eyes. He doesn't move, just watches you approach. "You Grady?" You ask. He takes a sip. "Depends who's asking, Dut." You don't flinch. "Someone who ain't dead yet." He smiles like a man who's seen a lot of death. "Then you're hired." The job was simple on paper. Grady needed to escort a wagon full of goods through rough country. A 2-day ride north to a mining camp called Cutter's Junction. The trail passed through open plains, badlands, and Apache territory. Grady wasn't expecting trouble. He was counting on it. "These hills ain't safe no more," he said, chewing a matchstick. You ride point. You see movement. You holler. You hear something strange. You shoot it or tell me what direction to start digging your grave. You nodded. He handed you a rifle, a Winchester repeater, clean and well-oiled. You knew how to use it. Your horse was named Hellbiter. Ugly as sin. One ear missing. Scar down his neck. But he moved like lightning on a whiskey high and didn't spook at gunfire. That mattered more than looks. You saddled up before dawn. The town was quiet, just the creak of the windmill and the mutter of pigs behind a fence. Grady loaded the wagon, barrels, crates, canvas bags. No questions asked. You rode ahead, scanning the land. The sun rose red like a warning. By mid-morning, you'd left Dead Rock behind. No roads, just faint wagon ruts cutting across scrub brush and sandstone. Jackrabbits darted between mesquite trees. Once, you saw a hawk dive and lift a snake like a banner. Grady hummed as he drove the wagon. "You married?" he asked. "No." "Good. Ain't nobody to miss you then." You smiled, just a little. The silence returned. Near midday, you found tracks. 5 horses, moving fast. Fresh. You dropped to one knee and brushed dust from the hoof prints. No shoes. Wild? Maybe. But the pattern said otherwise. "You seeing what I'm seeing?" Grady asked behind you. 5 men, maybe 6, heading west. He squinted toward the hills. "They'll circle around. They'll wait till we sleep. Or they'll come fast and loud and hope we die confused. What do we do?" Grady cracked his knuckles. "We make him regret the choice." The night crept in quiet. Grady pulled the wagon into a narrow canyon flanked by dry stone and twisted brush. The walls offered some shelter from wind and visibility. You made camp beneath a bent juniper tree whose shadow looked like an old man on his knees. You kept the fire small, barely enough to warm the beans in your pan. Grady passed you a tin cup of watered-down whiskey. "Here's to tomorrow," he muttered. You didn't drink. Not much. Not while riding point. Your ears stayed sharp, your eyes sharper. Even in the dark, you listened to wind, to brush, to silence, especially silence. "Ever kill a man?" Grady asked out of nowhere. You didn't answer. He looked at you, then nodded slowly. "Good. Means you're not proud of it." Above you, the stars stretched wide. The Milky Way painted the sky like a river of frozen fire. Somewhere far off, coyotes howled, followed by the low call of an owl. You took first watch. The rifle sat across your knees, finger near the trigger but not on it. Years of habit. Years of surviving things you shouldn't have. Every 30 minutes, you scanned the ridge with the spyglass Grady loaned you. Shadows moved, but only from wind. Still, your skin itched. Something was out there, watching. Midnight came and went. Then, at exactly 2:14 a.m., you saw it. A flicker, too controlled to be a campfire, too brief to be natural. Someone signaled someone else, likely with a lantern shutter. You closed the spyglass, quietly woke Grady, and whispered, "They are close. Waiting." He nodded. "How many?" You shook your head. "Don't know, but they've got signals." He sat up and reached for his tool bag. From it, he pulled out a bundle of 6 sticks of dynamite, already tied with fuses and black powder. You raised an eyebrow. "Insurance," he said, and set to planting them. You moved high up the canyon wall, behind a boulder, and lay prone with a rifle resting steady. Then you waited, and waited, until the dark burst open. Raygun Chapter 7, The Ambush. It began with a whistle, then hoofbeats, then shouting. 6 riders came fast into the canyon, rifles raised, scarves around their faces. Shadows on shadows. Grady shouted, "Now!" You struck a match and lit the long fuse by your side, tossing the fire starter onto the black powder trail near one of the buried dynamite charges. Boom! Rocks exploded upward like angry gods. One of the horses reared, then crumpled as its rider was flung into a twisted cedar tree. You fired twice, once into the rider's shoulder, once into his mount's leg. It crumpled, squealing, trapping its rider beneath. A bullet snapped past your cheek and hit the stone behind you. You rolled left, pressed against the cold canyon rock, then popped up and fired again, taking down another man just as he raised a shotgun. Grady fired from behind the wagon, slow and steady, not wasting rounds. 1 shot, 1 corpse. You saw a rider trying to flee back through the canyon entrance. "Not today," you muttered, and dropped him from 150 yards out. Your shoulder throbbed from the recoil, but you stayed steady. Then the final stick of dynamite exploded, right near the boulder. The dust settled. The fire burned low. You stood slowly, checking your arm for blood. A graze. Nothing more. Grady holstered his sidearm, spat into the dust. "Well," he said, "if that's all the West can offer today, I'm almost disappointed." He laughed. One sharp burst. PLZ subscribed.